My talk title today is Your Constitution. Now, you know, the U.S. Constitution is, of course, the supreme law here. It's empowered by the sovereign authority and consent of the people, which you and I are, although it was done 200 plus years ago. It's the source of not only the government's powers, but the government's limitations, which protect our fundamental freedoms and rights. In July, we solidified our Declaration of Independence, parting ourselves from lack and limitation, soul-crushing events from the past, depressing news reports that happens, and depressing experiences that may be happening around us, and just junk from our upbringing. We declared our independence back in July from all of that. Now, these ideas, these experiences may show up now and again. You know, I'm not going to lie about it. I'm not going to try to fool you. I'm not trying to do any some sort of spiritual avoidance of it. Things happen. And even on special occasions like now during this pandemic, et cetera, or during any sort of triggering events that may happen in your life. I know they do for me. I know it happens for me. Gary was talking about it, what happened for him this week. Well, something happened to bring him to the point where he needed to look again, which is perfect, because I have been too. And I know when the stuff comes up in the news and I see it, or something happens around me, or these fires or floods, et cetera, it sucks. Not only does it mess up my day, but many times it messes up a couple of them. But those are the times when I have to look at myself and I have to say, stop. No matter the deadlines, no matter the goals or whatever's going on in life, right there, I have to tell myself to stop. Stop working. Stop kvetching. I have to stop and rediscover what my constitution is, what my supreme laws are. Are they of skepticism and doubt, fear and worry, or are they of faith and action? Now, we talked about questioning as a great tool. I think I was talking about that last week. That questioning is a great tool. It pushes back that monkey mind. It's a tool for us to tell ourselves, why are we doing this? Why are we thinking this? Questioning, why are you here, you monkey mind, you dumb idea, you idea from the past? Why are you here? And what do you want from me? These are great questions. And us allowing ourselves to let them be answered is fabulous, because then we get informed and then we get empowered to not be in this whirling dervish. Questioning assists in rediscovering and understanding what we believe and know, especially if we think we know it all. Hey, listen, I'm a minister. I'm all educated and experienced. What do I need to know? Happens to me too. Or maybe we're not willing to question what's in our way. Happens to all of us. Again, I'm a minister. I'm educated, trained, experienced, but I still sometimes have to teach myself, again, about belief and blockages and the ones that I've allowed to step into my life. And sometimes we're not willing to ask what it means when prayers have not been answered. It's okay to ask. I do too. And yes, again, I'm a minister, blah, blah, blah. But I still, even though I got this prayer thing down, I still get frustrated too. So what? It's what we do with this frustration. It's what we do with this skepticism. It happens to all of us. We get out of alignment. We lose touch with being open at the top. And it's a great time then to check in with your constitution. It's a good time for me, like I've been doing this week, and Gary sounds like he's been doing this week, to check in with your constitution, the supreme laws that you believe in, the support and protection of your perfection, of your natural perfection that you are born with. To check back into that. So what gets in the way? Skepticism gets in the way. We get a lack of faith, and that destroys faith. When we have a lack of faith, it destroys it. It starts to minimize it, and that comes from skepticism. But we have to remember that if every thought is a prayer, if every thought is creating a synaptic connection, that if consistent becomes a belief that lives in our subconscious, then we need to step up when we realize this is happening and take back control. And it's okay if it's happening, it happens. Things are going on around us, and we lose our diligence in our belief system. Because we have to remember that we're informing the universe what the color is of our experiences, what the flavor is of our experiences. And to counteract that, we need to feed it with more faith. We need to feed it with more prosperous thoughts. We need to feed it with a reminder of who we are. Constantly feed and nourish that wolf. Remember that story about the good wolf and the bad wolf, or the mean wolf and the kind wolf? The grandfather telling his grandchildren that there are two wolves, and one's mean and hateful, et cetera, and the other is kind and loving, et cetera, and they're having a fight, they're having a war, there's a war between them, and one of the grandchildren says, well, which one is going to win? And the grandfather says, the one you feed. That fight may seem constant. That fight may seem to jump back into your life again, but which one are you going to feed? Will Rogers said that even if you're on the right track, you'll get run over. And you'll get run over if you just sit there. If you just sit there, you're going to get run over by this skepticism. Instead of seeing it come to you and closer and starting to affect you. Oh, you can't see my other hand, sorry. It's starting to get closer and closer and starting to affect you, and yet not hit you, and so that you can go, stop. Same with doubt. Number 2 is doubt. To counteract doubt, every time you have a successful manifestation, these are some quick tools, some simple little tools, and you'll be amazed how powerful they are. But so every time doubt comes into your mind, to counteract that, every time you have a successful manifestation in your life, whatever that is, big, small, add it to a success journal. Have a success journal. I don't care if it's a big fancy book or some just pad of paper or maybe a bunch of Post-it notes somewhere. Add it to your success journal. Every time you have a rockin' affirmative prayer, like today, if these affirmative prayers, we've done 3 of them already, really rocked your world, you really felt it in your heart, body was tingling, well, however that is that affects you when you really know that a prayer has had a really good effect on your mind and your body and your heart, put that in your success journal. That continuously feeds your faith muscles. Now, every time you have an aha moment, you ever had an aha moment? I have aha moments all the time. Some are teeny, some are big, some are not about my faith or my life in a way, but they're aha moments. Sometimes they're just a memory of, who sang that song or something. It becomes an aha moment. Add that to your gratitude journal. Do you have a gratitude journal? Maybe that could be part of your success journal. And these little aha moments could be small. It doesn't matter. Or they could be large. I'm going to tell you a little quick story about a large aha moment for somebody. His name was Simon Lovell. He was about 31 years old. He was a professional con man. Okay, and he spun his gambling tricks that he learned from his grandfather into a very lucrative business. And he would fleece strangers out of money without hesitation or remorse. He would find his marks, the people he was going to eventually take money from, in hotels all over the world. This guy was all over the world doing this. And he kept doing this until this day in 1988, when things started to be different, when this aha moment showed up. So he was in Europe and he spotted this guy in a bar and he plied him with drinks, and he did this, what is called a cross con. It's a classic con in which he makes the other person believe that they're going to be part of a foolproof get-rich scheme. You ever been a part of one of those, or been attempted to, read it in the internet or something? The prince from Nigeria get-rich scheme. Anyway, the con went perfectly. And he said, I took him for an extremely large amount of money. Now, after he was done, Lovell hustled this drunk man out of the hotel room where the fleecing actually occurred, where the exchange of money actually occurred, intending to leave him in the hallway so that, the hotel security would find him and deal with him. But then something unexpected happened. The guy whose money he stole, suddenly went to pieces. He kind of came back to more consciousness, and he had a fit. Not an angry fit. He felt bad. He said, and Lovell says, I'd never seen a man break down that badly, ever. He was just sliding down the hall, weeping and wailing. And what followed was a moment Lovell would change his life. It was an aha moment. It was the hinge point of his life. And he said it was as if a light suddenly went on. And this is where things changed for him. This was the first time he actually felt sorry for one of his marks. And it hit him hard. For his next move was something he'd never done before. He returned the money to this guy and declared his life free of being a swindler. He'd been doing this for years. He'd made a hunk of money doing this for years. But something about that guy made his consciousness click. And he says there was an absolute epiphany that I just couldn't do it anymore. And the next day he felt lighter, and he had become, he says, a real human being again. And he never ran another con. In the decades that followed, Lovell turned his gift for smooth patter and sleight of hand into a highly successful one-man show that ran off Broadway for 8 years. And this guy's written 16 books on not only on self-improvement, but on the kind of magic, as they call it, the sleight of hand that he does. He's also done dozens and dozens of television appearances, and he was the consultant for the character, the con man character, Neil Caffrey, on the show White Collar. That was played by Matt Bomer on White Collar. He was the consultant on that. And then later in his life, not too long ago, he's in his early 60s now, he suffered a stroke, and people from all over the world sent him not only money here and there, but all these well wishes. He had turned his life completely around. Instead of stealing from people, he was giving back. That's a big aha moment. Maybe you've had one of those in your lives. When we treat our minds and hearts with affirmative prayer or any kind of spiritual practice, when we open our hearts with meditation, when we open our imagination with visualizing and envisioning, when we open ourselves to the divine love, intelligence, and power that there is, there's no room for doubt. There's no room for skepticism. In the Science of Mind book, it says, realize that you treat with your understanding through the law. Meditate upon the spiritual significance of the statements you make, meaning the statements you make in your affirmative prayer, until you induce within consciousness a definite concept, already established fact. that this concept that you are saying to yourself, that you are declaring and revealing through affirmative prayer, or even in a meditative state, that they're already established. I don't care what you see in front of you. They're already established in mind and heart and body, even if they haven't been objectified yet in life. So a little Bible here. It's done unto you as you believe. You remember that one? Especially of those of you brought up in the Christian faith. It is done unto you as you believe. Faith is going to do it for you. Prayer is going to do it for you. Any spiritual practice is going to do it for you. Neuro-linguistic programming tools are going to do it for you. Whatever you use, they don't even have to be spiritual tools, because the spiritual tools and the so-called practical tools or psychological tools, they match, they connect. The psychic tools, they match, they connect. So it matters not what tools you use, they all become spiritual tools. They all become consciousness tools. So whenever you change your thinking patterns, you change what starts going on around you in your life. Will Rogers again. If you want to be successful, it's just this simple. Know what you're doing, love what you're doing, and believe in what you're doing. Build your faith until it becomes a knowing in your life, or rebuild your faith until it becomes a knowing in your life. Stay in present time. Don't think about the future. Don't think about the past. What's going on right here, right now, so you can rediscover your constitution. I want to quickly read my constitution for you. Maybe you'll believe this. Maybe it's something many of you at least are familiar with. Maybe this will help you discover it for you too. I believe it's a powerful principle that has brought us together, most of us at least, and helps us, assists us, puts a foundation under us to transcend us to our best lives every day. And once in a while, I need to bring myself back to my constitution. And here it is. I believe in God, the living spirit almighty, the presence and power of the universe, the energetic singularity of the Big Bang, the unbiased, non-judgmental, impartial, and unconditionally loving divine intelligence. It is one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause which manifests itself in all creation, in all of us. I believe in the individualized and personalized incarnation of this one spirit in everyone and everything. I believe in the eternality of it, the immortality of it, and the continuity of it in the individual soul, forever and ever expanding itself and expanding us in not only this 3D reality, but beyond, in the multiverse, beyond this body. I believe that this power that is within me, that is within each and every one of us, reveals itself in all I think, feel, believe, and do right now. Not later, not after a prayer, not after meditation, right now. I believe heaven and hell are states of mind, and that I experience either to the degree that I sit in the belief of them in my life. I believe the ultimate goal of life is not only to be happy and prosperous and abundant and loved, but to be completely emancipated from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by each and every one of us. I believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest expression of the God self and the innermost expression of the God self are one and the same. I believe that universal spirit, call it what you will, operates through a universal mind, a law, a mental law of cause and effect, a spiritual law of cause and effect, and that this creative mind is used by a direct impress of our thoughts and acts upon this law of cause and effect. I believe in the healing of any thought, idea, condition, and bodily dis-ease through the power of this mind, not just the brain thing, mind, but this divine matrix, as I call it, mind. The brain and what goes on there, the heart and the feelings and the brain type workings that goes on there, and in my gut, where the intuition grows and informs the rest of my body from there. I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. And I believe my destiny is defined by me, for I understand that the life of all is God, and my life is a divine life, inherently perfect, whole, and complete as I see fit. Inherently perfect, whole, and complete as I see fit. So what's your constitution? It may be some of the things I said or some other way than the things I said, but what's yours? Because that's what's most important, is the constitution you have decided to have in your life, the supreme laws of your life. Anytime. It doesn't have to be a special occasion. Anytime. Revisit them. Reveal them again in your life. Believe them and live them. Be them. Be it. Be it. Be that supreme law in your life. Live it again. For then, no matter what's been going on, no matter what is going on, you will live a life from a perspective of those supreme laws. A life that is abundant, full of love, full of prosperity, full of glorious health, full of the best of you. Thank you so much. Namaste.